What most of us do, I think, is we go back and we look, what's the important stuff in this conversation? Let's copy this over to a new conversation. Or we use something called compact, which is a feature that a lot of AI agents have, which basically summarizes the conversation, which is lossy. It compresses stuff. You get loss of signal. And then you put this in a new context window. Point being, some tokens are more important than others. And some tokens are just garbage and they fill up the context window. It would be nice if you can get rid of them. So I want to show you something else. Look at this prompt here. Where do we check the authentication headers in the server? Use the search agent. Let me run this. So I'm running this in our AMP repo. It's pretty hard to type on this table, to be honest. So here I'm being explicit. I'm telling it to use the search agent. I'll explain to you in a second what this is. But what it now does is it makes a tool call. And this tool call actually invokes another model, another agent that has a separate context window. And as you can see here, it searches for a bunch of stuff in parallel. Even it uses grep and it searches for different regexes and tries to find out where the authentication headers are. It then reads a bunch of files that it suspects contain the answer to the question. It reads some more files. It reads, I think in this case, it reads multiple portions of the same file. Reads another file. It says, let me find the middleware. It goes on. Like this is, I don't know, I'm eyeballing it, but let's say 32K tokens. I don't know. I cannot prove it to you, but let's just say it's a lot of tokens, right? The point is, once this is finished, which hopefully we'll see in a second, but this is a live demo. So now it's finished. And what happened is the search agent comes back with only this reply here. This is its result. This is the result of the tool call. All of the other tokens, all of the garbage tokens that fill up the context window, they don't show up in our main context window because if you look down here, we only used up 13%, 22K tokens for one tool call with the result of where something is. If we look back at this here and switch to this diagram, this is what we just saw. The main agent, that's the one on the left, with a conversation with the user and assistant, and then there's a tool call, and the tool call calls a sub-agent, which has a new context window. 200K tokens free to use for the task of finding something. And in this context window, the main agent acts as the user, which is why this is in quotes up here, top right. And then the assistant makes a bunch of tool calls, and at the end it comes back with, here's what I found out. And in the main context window, only the last result ends up in the main context window. So I don't know how much you've done with searching or agents, but I think this is a pretty interesting idea. You get a new context window out of which you can pull some information, and your main context window doesn't fill up.